Now look, today we're diving into a case that's been making national headlines. The case of Laken Snelling, a University of Kentucky student and cheerleader who's facing some major charges after an unalived newborn was discovered in her off-campus apartment. Now, this story is complicated, it's emotional, and it raises a lot of tough questions about the legal system, pregnancy, and the way the media covers cases like this. Look, y'all sit back and relax and stay until the end of this episode because we about to dive right in. Welcome back to another episode of Eyes Low, Belly Full. As y'all know, this marks episode 159. So here's what we know. Back in late August, police responded to Laken Snelling's home in Lexington, Kentucky. Now inside, they found the body of an infant in the closet. And according to court documents, Snelling told the police that she thought the baby was already deceased when she had it. But things got more complicated when later on she allegedly told medical staff that she heard a whimper from the baby. And that statement set off alarm bells because it suggests that the baby may have been alive at some point. Now, Snelling is just 21 years old, and at the time, she was a University of Kentucky cheer and stunt team member. And after her arrest, she withdrew from the university and is no longer a part of the program. And right now, she's facing charges of abuse of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing the birth of an infant child. Now, obviously, she was arrested back in August, and the case been moving quickly. You know, her bond was set to $100,000, which her family posted, and she's been on house arrest in Tennessee with her parents.
Yesterday, there was some huge news that came out about Laken Snelling's baby, like that he was born full term and alive, and that she allegedly admitted to medical staff that he did have movement and he whimpered. But then she apparently dropped him, and then she passed out and landed on top of him. And the roommates heard the loud thud and texted the group chat asking what that loud noise was. One of the roommates said the loud noises went on for about an hour. I'm going to address this comment here. Wonder if the noise was her throwing the baby to try to unalive it. Now, this is just my own personal opinion, but the Fayette County coroner said the baby didn't have any visible signs of injury or trauma. A newborn baby's bones are practically like rubber, so they're really difficult to break, but I would think that he would have had bruising, bleeding, or something else if that were the case. And if she really passed out and landed on top of him, like she's claiming, I would think the baby would have crushing injuries, like trauma to his organs. But he didn't. It sounds to me like she's halfway admitting that the baby was smothered, but she's coming up with some sort of story so she doesn't get in trouble. Now, as I stated in a previous video, I was told that after she got to the labor and delivery unit, she did receive a blood transfusion, indicating that her hemoglobin level would have been low. And is it possible to pass out from having a low hemoglobin level? Absolutely. But don't forget that she says after she passed out and came to, she wrapped the baby up like a burrito and laid down next to it because it gave her some comfort, and then she woke up to her 7:30 alarm going off. And then she claims she got in the shower, cleaned everything off of herself, got out, cleaned everything up, put the placenta in a plastic Ziploc bag, and then put everything, including the baby, the bloody towels, the placenta, all of it in that trash bag and hid it in her closet. And then after that, she ordered food from the McDonald's app, drove her car to pick it up, sat in her car for a while, and then drove over to the UK student clinic where she decided not to go in. If, after having the baby, her hemoglobin was already low enough to make her pass out, and then she's continuing to bleed for hours after that, which would make it drop even lower, how would she have been able to do all of those things afterwards? Of course, it's possible that if she really did pass out, it was from exertion and not from the hemoglobin level. But I honestly find it all really hard to believe. And another thing, police found evidence that she was doing searches on her phone related to pregnancy before the baby was born, and she was even taking photographs while she was in labor. That, of course, she ended up deleting because she was trying to hide everything. When she started feeling contractions or her water broke or whatever happened to indicate that she's in active labor, why didn't she call 911? I mean, she very clearly didn't want anybody to know that she was pregnant. So the whole story she's telling of passing out, landing right on the baby, I personally don't buy it for a single second. I think something was deliberately done to end that baby's life. And if that's the case, I really hope and pray the autopsy can confirm that, and then they can charge her appropriately. Because this is happening way too often, and it seems like they always get away with it.
Now, during her court appearance on September 26, which was yesterday, she waived her right to a preliminary hearing. And that means that the case now goes straight to grand jury, who will decide on whether to formally indict her and on what charges. Now, she pleaded not guilty, and her defense team is likely going to argue that this was a tragic pregnancy outcome, not a crime. And the big question for the court is, was the baby born alive? And if so, how did it die? I mean, right now, the coroner's report is inconclusive and more medical testing is being done. But beyond just the courtroom, this case highlights a bigger debate. Stories like this tap into national conversations about how pregnancy losses, stillbirths, and unplanned births are treated in the legal system. And after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, there has been an increase in women being prosecuted under laws dealing with pregnancy and infant outcomes. And some people are seeing this case as part of that trend, where tragedies that might once have been considered medical emergencies are now ending up in federal courtrooms. But on the flip side, prosecutors argue that when evidence suggests that a baby may have been born alive and then hidden, the law has to step in. And it's a legal and moral balancing act that doesn't have an easy answer. And then, of course, we have the internet. Headlines have called her the cheerleader who hid her baby in the closet, and that framing has went viral. And it's crazy because it can shape public opinion before the trial even begins. I mean, think about it. Her saying that she heard the baby whimper can be the difference between people seeing this as a miscarriage tragedy or as a criminal act. And that's why it's important to separate what's been alleged from what's been proven. Because right now, there's still a lot more questions than answers. Now, I want to hear what y'all think about this situation. Was this truly a tragic secret she couldn't face? Or do you believe that there is something much darker hidden behind what we was told? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And if this video resonated with you, go ahead and hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up and also subscribe and hit that bell notification for more episodes. I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. Peace.